What up, players? This is Mike Walls. You're watching Off The Wallz TV. I'm here at Truth Studios, the iconic Truth Studios, Los Angeles, California, with the man, the myth, the legend, producer, hip-hop artist, engineer, Polyester The Saint.
Hey.
What's up with you, bro?
Chilling.
Hanging, man.
Yeah.
Yo, so how's everything going with you, bro?
Everything is everything. Everything is great.
That's awesome, dude. Yo, so I just learned a lot about your life in in terms of like doing the preparations for this interview here.
Mm-hmm.
But tell me a little bit about your upbringing. You had a super interesting, very musically influenced upbringing. Tell me a little bit about that.
My grandfather did music. He was a gospel singer. My father did music as well. So I was like always surrounded, you know, behind music. I was going to studios at like 11, 12 years old, you know. So I just never stopped.
So your grandfather's one of the pioneers of gospel music.
Yeah.
How did that like affect you? How did that influence you?
I was so young because he had passed in like the 90s, but I remember when he was alive, and I didn't really understand the magnitude, except for when people would, like I'd have a teacher and they would say my name in class, and then they'd be like, well, is your grandfather da-da-da? And I'm like, yes, and like, oh, but I didn't really understand that people knew him like that, you know? And then he also had a star on Hollywood, so. Yeah.
Oh, word.
Yeah, so.
So something slight, nothing too big, you know, just a star on Hollywood.
Yeah, man, star on Hollywood. He had it. He has one, actually, and it's in front of Musicians Institute, and that's the school that I went to for engineering too as well. That's what made me want to go there, because I walked through the door. I'm like, oh, okay, you know.
Just a little reminder before you get to class.
Yeah, follow the steps.
Damn, man. So like producer, engineer,
yeah,
hip hop artist. How did you become so versatile, and where did you start?
If we start all the way from the beginning, like from a child, I was a drummer, and I used to play in church, I used to play in the marching band, I played in jazz band, I played in orchestra, and I wanted to be someone's touring drummer. And then probably around 12, when I got 12, 13, then I started learning how to play the piano, and once I started learning how to play the piano, then I just wanted to make my own music, you know, and it kind of just went from there. And then I remember I went to the studio with my dad and one of his friends, Bobby Brooks, and he's a great engineer. I think he used to be Rick James's engineer. He had told me like, oh, he was like, what do you want to do? You know, I was like, I want to produce. He was like, well, learn how to engineer so you won't need people like me. You know what I'm saying? Because he got paid a lot of money to make people's music go from here and sound like this, you know. But it was like those producers, they knew how to make music good, but they didn't know how to make it sound big, you know. So it was like, if you learn this and you do what you do, you won't, you know. So that led me to be like, okay, when I finish high school, I'm just gonna go straight to learning how to engineer. And then I did the engineering, and then that was great too, because I met a lot of producers. I learned off from other producers, you know, like, cause I still always wanted to just really make music, really, not really beats, but just make music. And so like, after a while, the engineer life kind of just slowed down because my producer life was taking off more, you know, and it was just like I didn't really have time to engineer for people like that. I still do right now for certain people that I like to work, that we have a good, you know, relationship working with, but it's not as much as before.
So at what point did you, let's say, hip-hop, music, just being talented in general, that was always something a part of you. At what point did you like decide to take it seriously, and at what point did it click? Was there like a specific moment for you?
To be honest, it wasn't like a moment of a clicking thing. It was just more so of like this is what I am, this is what I do. I mean, I've been playing music. That's why it's like being a rapper, so to speak, now and performing in front of people. It's not really hard to me, because since elementary school, I've been recitals, bands, marching band, you know what I mean? So it's just like, it's just a continuation, you know what I mean? So more like it's like not snapping out of it, you know what I'm saying? Instead of snapping into it, it's more so like don't snap out of it, because this is what I do.
And it's interesting because it seems like you've had that self-awareness and that focus from like what it seems like a young age.
Yeah.
Was it ever really like kind of hard to not fall into the trends of what everybody else was doing, being an individual at such a young age in an era full of a lot of group thought and conformity?
It was never not hard to do it because I've always been that type of person regardless. I was in high school, that's how I got the name Polyester. I used to wear plaid pants, old man plaid pants, but still with Jordans or whatever, the new shoes or whatever. I dressed totally different than everybody, but still at like not, you can't clown me, you know what I'm saying? Like
dope, no
yeah, so it's like it just, even with music, it was the same way, you know what I'm saying? So it wasn't hard for me to not switch, but I learned a lot by watching people switch, you know? Yeah.
So I have 3 words for you.
Yeah.
Words that I think describe you very well.
Okay.
Leader.
Okay.
Trendsetter.
Okay.
It's 4 words technically. And believer.
Thank you.
What do those words mean to you?
Leader means, you know, someone who's willing to take the weight. You know what I'm saying? That's on a decision. I'm willing to say, I'm putting up this weight for us to go this way, go that way, up, down, left, right. You know, whatever. That's what that means. You know, somebody who's willing to take on the weight of the idea and command. Trendsetter is a trendsetter. I'll say weatherman. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Sometimes you could just know the climate of things, and you know when it's time to throw something out there that's gonna you know, that people are gonna attach to. So I'd attach that word with the weatherman.
All right.
He's a trendsetter.
And you've done a lot of setting the groundwork for this next generation of West Coast hip hop culture and artists, giving them the opportunity to do things. So the word believer. Yeah. Like what is like how do you identify with that word?
Man, the word believer was like, the word believer honestly came out of necessity. You know what I'm saying? Like straight up, like it came out of necessity. Like certain people that I worked with when they were, you know, not who they are today, I used to work with them and say their names to people and be like, this is the dude. And then now a lot of these people are, and it was more so like, I believe, but then also is out of necessity. Like we need this. Like we need this type of voice, you know, and so especially if we're speaking on like certain artists that I worked with like that. It was like on the West Coast at a time that I believed in certain people. We didn't have that out here for we didn't have a voice of like, you know, who's speaking for us other than the people that have been speaking for the last 10, 15 years, you know. So now it's different now. You got Kendricks and the Nipseys and the Doms and the Casey Veggies. You know, you got a lot of different people speaking for us out here.
And we were just talking about how there was out-of-town homies that came through, was jamming to your tape.
Yeah.
They knew they was coming to LA.
Yeah, exactly.
They defined your sound as the sound that represents Los Angeles.
Yeah, and that's cool. I like that. You know what I'm saying? That's what I want to hear. Because before that, all you always had was the older songs, you know, Tupac or, you know, Snoop, and all those are great. Like, that's what's on my iPhone right now. Mm-hmm. I want to continue that vibe, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Continue that Dog Pound, continue the G-Funk era, you know what I'm saying? Continue that.
And people compare you to Pop. People compare you to, like, the modern-day Drake. You feeling any of that pressure, or nah, you just doing your thing?
Nah. I could never be Dre, you know what I'm saying? I would only feel pressure if I was actually trying to be somebody else. But I've been me ever since I've opened my eyes. It's no pressure.
I feel that, man. Yeah. That's dope. So tell me a little bit about LAUSD.
Okay, LAUSD.
That was a time like you spoke of, doing something out of necessity. And we spoke about this before, like there was something that wasn't there, and there was something that needed to happen, and you didn't know if it was going to work or not. Tell me about that time.
It really wasn't a thing for me as like, is this going to work? Because I wasn't looking at it like, oh, I'm going to get on by doing it. It was more so like, man, I want to hear this right now. I think LA people want to hear this. At the time, everything that was being played out here was from the South, you know, no disrespect to the South. I love the South music, but when you go to the South, you don't hear was playing out here. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you don't hear artists from out here on their radio stations. So why, when they come here, it was different? But you know, we needed other voices. You know what I'm saying? And that's where it came from. You know, LAUSD. When me and a partner of mine, Lazy Lou, when we started that, like there was no new LA artists, you know? So we wanted to make a whole album with just all people from LA who are just, you know, trying to do their thing. And then if you look at the list, a lot of those people's names, they're like somebody's, you know, now.
So what's it like to see them dudes now? Like to go from where y'all started and to be where you are now and to see where y'all are going.
Yeah.
Just as a culture, and just being really prominent in hip hop. Like what does that mean for you?
It's more so than ever. This is the time when we realize, like, we don't need to change a thing. You know what I'm saying? We don't need to we can branch out, like, as far as what we do, but keep the ingredients brewing because it worked. It's working, you know what I'm saying? Like, keep the ingredients brewing, keep it going. Like, keep the certain players, like, in play. We don't need too many trades or expansions.
Right, so it feels like you like felt a niche that worked, and you just are working to just keep that science together.
Not even so much a niche, more so like an ingredient that works, like a great ingredients to spaghetti. Like, you know what I mean? Like this tastes good. Like, let's give it to them. They want that, you know.
Don't change the recipe.
Yeah, if it's working, you know. It's like being the restaurant on the block that has that little special sauce. Like, everybody's like, why does everybody go there? Like, yeah.
You taste the sauce?
Yeah, exactly. Right. That. Got the juice out here, man.
Got the juice.
Yeah.
Speaking on being an artist, you mentioned about business.
Okay.
You label yourself a
businessman.
Businessman.
Yeah.
How much of that plays into your creative process, or just what ratio is it, music and business?
See, that's the thing of an artist that an artist has to learn how to juggle. You know what I'm saying? The business aspect of it and the creative. You know, hopefully you get to a certain point, or you get certain people involved that actually get to handle the business more for you, so you can spend more time creating. You know what I'm saying? But even at the same time, you're doing business with them. You got to be a business doing business with a business at all times. Like, I'm a business that's gonna do business with this. You know, I'm gonna pay these photographers to take pictures with me. They're their own business. I'm gonna, you know what I mean? It's just like, of entities, and that's what you gotta always keep in mind being an artist. You know what I'm saying? However you move around, I've known artists that's had 5, 6 managers. No hard feelings, but that's just the way it moves. You know?
Yeah.
You know. You're just a business doing business with each other, you know?
For sure.
And especially, you know, music and business, just they clash, and then but they go together at certain times to make money, you know? If you figure out a way to make money out of it.
Right. Dang, man. So, like, tell me a little bit about your circle, like the environment that you create for yourself. Like, how does that play into your success?
My circle, as far as like socially, or just like music wise?
Just like the people that you keep around, like the environment that you keep maintaining.
Well,
to create that sauce that you speak of.
I mean, you know, really just keeping frequent. You know, like a lot of us, because of everybody doing their own thing, a lot of us have, you know, are pulled this way. Sometimes this person's on tour, sometimes this person's in Europe, you know, but it's more about just keeping the meetups together. Like, let's make sure, you know, a lot of times when I meet with some of my friends that we've made music together, it's like, man, we gotta figure out what day can we just meet up every time like that. You know what I'm saying? It's more so of like figuring that out, because now we're all busy in all different directions.
And was there a time that you ever like doubted the continuity of what y'all was doing? Did you ever doubt that maybe this wasn't gonna work? Like, was there ever like a time that y'all were just kind of like, dang, man, like, what are we doing?
This is the last time the word doubt's ever gonna be used, because I don't doubt nothing. You know what I'm saying? I'm where I'm supposed to be. not even like that, like on some $1 million man, but like as far as me comfortable wise, you know what I'm saying? So like if I choose to go get a hamburger, I'm not gonna be like, should I got some sushi? You know what I mean? I got a hamburger, you know? So that's no doubts at all. Doubt left a long time ago.
Man, and where does that come from? Like I know that you're a firm believer of like the secret and like power of like positive thoughts, like,
because at the end of the day, when you really think about it, you got to be that way, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I want to get through this door. I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm going to get through the door, maybe it might open, maybe it not. I'm going to open the door and walk through, you know what I'm saying? Straight up. That's how it is, the mentality in life, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to go do that because I really want to do it. I don't want to fail, so why would I even think about failing? I don't want to.
The thought process.
You know, we're all human, so you have like that option of that being there, but I spend more time and more thought process on thinking that it's not.
Man.
Not even thinking that failing exists. Because even sometimes when you fail, you think you failed, but you didn't fail. Like, you don't see the upsides of what happened, and you might not see it till later. A lot of times my previous projects, like, I noticed I would put it out, and like the core people that pay attention would be like, yeah. But then 6 months later, it would be like, I'll hear people talking about it, and they'd act like I just put it out yesterday. I'm like, well, where was you 6 months ago? But if I would have looked in those 6 months ago and been like, damn, this is not popping, nobody's talking about it. But actually they are. It just takes time to, you know, manifest.
That's crazy. So like,
Marinate. You gotta let it marinate. Don't doubt. Let it marinate.
Don't doubt. You gotta have patience. I mean, is that something that you would tell like a young artist coming up? Like, as far as young artists, producers, like, you have a lot of self-awareness, you have a lot of like self-understanding and just the commitment to move forward. For people that are struggling with that, you know what I'm saying? They're hella talented, they have all the intention on taking that next step, but there's something holding them back.
That means you need to look in the mirror and be like, do I want to do this, yes or no? And whatever your answer is, then don't go any other way from that. You know what I'm saying? So the next time when you look in the mirror, you look at yourself, you're like, am I being that person? You know what I'm saying? Like, what if you choose no? Then every day you go look in the mirror, you're like, man, I'm supposed to be rapping and I'm supposed to be on stage. That's never gonna go away. Right. Like, you know, I equate that to my mom. Like, my mom told me that at a very young age because she chose the opposite of what she wanted to do in life. She chose to take a job that was give her security, and you know, sometimes that works for people, but she said the feeling of like what would have happened if I would have just followed my dream never goes away. Man, you will always think about that till you're in your grave. You'll be like, damn, what if I would have really tried? I don't want to know that. I don't want to feel like that.
It's like almost the way I think about that is just like exploring your potential. Yeah,
as a human being, like, as a human being, put an album out. Do it, you know what I'm saying? Like, do it. And really, honestly, it really comes down to making that decision. You know what I mean? Don't be in the gray area with the music, with making music and what. Don't be in that gray area, because it's like, it doesn't love you. You know what I'm saying? The music doesn't love you. You love making music. That love could fade, that love could get bigger, but the music doesn't love you like that. You know what I'm saying? And if it is something that you know, put a I wouldn't say put a time limit to it, but put a goal to yourself with it. If you really want to decide if you want to make it in the music, like, really put the time in. Not put the goal being success, put the goal being completing it. Sometimes people want to make a whole album, and then when they start seeing how much money it costs, how much studio time, how much this, they start thinking twice. Like, I want to buy some J's. I don't know if I want to go to the studio. You know, if you're thinking like that, then you don't need to be making music. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
But like, for me, I can't not think about not making music. I can't. I didn't make this word up. It came from Long Beach. I learned it from a good friend of mine named Mumu. He's in a group called Psych Ward Druggies or whatever. And like, it's a word called Crease. It's like Long Beach, LA slang. It means like, what's greater than great, more awesome than awesome. Like, what's the top of the top where it can't get no better. Like, that's Crease. So like I have it tatted on my wedding ring. Like I'm married to the Crease. Like I'm married to being me. Fully, like at the top, you know what I'm saying? I'm married to see whatever that vision of me that I see that's like at the top doing this thing with some wine and grapes and crackers and cheese. Like that's what I'm married to, being that, you know, and every step that it takes to be that, that's where I'm going with it, you know what I'm saying?
So it almost feels like that there's almost like a healthy creative obsession with what you love to do.
Yeah, it's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle. It's a healthy, it's like people who like to go to the gym. I like to go to the studio. You know what I'm saying? Like people who like to go to the park. I like to go to the studio. You know, people like golf. You know what I'm saying? Some people like the strip club. I like the studio. After the strip. No. No. I was just playing.
So like, I mean, but to speak on that though, there is a balance though, right? Like, I think that
the balance for me that came in, honestly, is when I had my son.
Okay.
I have a son. He's gonna be 2 in probably about 5 months, 6 months.
Congratulations.
But
That's awesome.
that gave me a balance, because other than that, it was eat, studio, you know, not too much else. Sip wine, go to the beach, studio. Like once I had my son, it added another like little wobble in there that's now made it cool. So now when I spend a lot of time with my son, then now when I come to the studio, it's like I'm not in here for 24 hours. I'm like in here for a good point, and I'm focused on what I'm doing, and then I leave, go watch, you know, Yo Gabba Gabba.
Yeah. So like transitioning into hip hop as an artist, what's your intention in making music? Is it more so a creative outlet, or is it intentionally to affect people and culture?
Mine is to not expose culture, expose culture. I'll say that. Okay. It's to expose culture. Show people the real stuff that's going on, that's not fabricated, you know what I'm saying? I.e. the car club stuff, you know what I'm saying? That's a real life, real gathering, real people that come together off with no stars, with no, you know, bells and whistles, no, you know what I mean?
Yeah, just straight up.
Straight up, it's going down. Like, I like that type of stuff, you know what I'm saying? And my music, I try to reflect that in my music. Like, this is what this is. Like, yeah, there's that, but then there's this, you know? Let's
backtrack real fast, and let's acknowledge the space that we're in right now.
All right, Truth Studios.
We're in Truth Studios right now. And when I like, I'm from DC, I'm from the East Coast, and even there, we acknowledge Truth Studios as an iconic hip-hop playground, if you will. Like, it's the place that people go to like, right before they break, they've been here. What is it about, what magic does this place possess that makes it that kind of space?
I think it was very comfortable for people. Shout out Nick Breton, you know what I'm saying? Like, for always making it comfortable, always making it the top of the line, whatever new mic, whatever, it's like, you know, having that quality, and then the vibe was always right, you know what I'm saying? It felt like, I don't want to say home, because it's not a home studio, but it felt like, you know, you got a good vibe. It wasn't sterile, you know what I'm saying? And then a lot of how the business even started worked off a lot of people that we know. And then it got to the point where it was like, okay, now we're getting people that's just emailing. Now we're getting emails of emails, you know? Right. So it just branched off like that, and it just, you know, the vibe is right.
And look at it now, man. I mean, you've had everybody from, you know, Chance the Rapper and Vic Mensa. You got all these new cats coming up. Common, even Janae Aiko, all these people. Like, what was one of, like, the most memorable moments? Not necessarily maybe with an artist, but maybe like a project that you worked on, or like just like some dope stuff that's happened here.
I would say, well, the Yellow album was mixed and mastered here, and with Dom Kennedy, and I did a few of the songs on there, so I made them here, and we recorded them here, and then like that was a real album that was like a lot of the work on it was done here, and then came out, and then it was like, everywhere, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I would say that probably the Yellow album. Like, there's been a lot of great memories and smiles and stuff like that in here, but as far as like, you know, working and with the studio, I would say the Yellow album. You know what I mean?
Dope. Was that was like a pretty pivotal moment in Truth history?
Yeah, it was just like, yeah, a lot, instead of one song being done here or like some one rapper that was famous came through, it was more like, this is our, one, this is Dom, this is our boy, you know what I'm saying? Two, you know, we did a lot of work on it, and so, you know what I mean?
Dope.
It came out, it did great.
And you know, another classic album, in my opinion, that was done here is The Player in You.
For The Player in You, yep.
The Player in You.
Yeah.
Tell me about that. Like, tell the world about what you've been working on. You recently just dropped a new album.
Yep, recently dropped For The Player in You. That was that's my recent work, and probably some of I would think some of my best work. That's where I feel like I figured it out, you know what I'm saying, and gave people something that, like, what was the best of everything that they known of me, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, you like this, you like the West Coast, you like that I make my songs West Coast. Okay, well, these songs are very West Coast, you know what I mean? So that's it.
You told me once, as an artist, your responsibility is to bring your audience into your world.
Yeah.
You know, just describe that world and how it translated into making this album the success that it is.
Yeah, like, you know, a lot of people that know me, they always, you know, call me a player. You know what I'm saying? I would say that I have player ways. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like everybody does. You know, so with this album, this was the music to play when you're doing something player. When you're chilling with your girl or your dude, you have some wine out, put these songs on. Like, or you guys are in the car driving far, you don't know where you're going, just put these songs on and you can go. You know what I mean? It's perfect for the mood.
For sure.
You know?
And like you said, nobody can be polyester, and orange can never be an apple. So it's an artist's responsibility to find what works for them. You know, how do you get to that point?
You ask yourself, what is it? I would say, what is it that you would want to say to 10 people at one time? What is it that you want to come across, or what is it that 100 people, or honestly, I equate it to this for myself. I looked at it like, I make music for the cars. I really do. So what is it that I would want people in their cars to be hearing when they're dipping and driving, like, ooh, 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 like, you know what I mean? Like, so if whatever you do, it's like, what you equate your music to, what would people be doing when they're listening to this? Some people make chilled out high music, you know what I'm saying? So then you need to figure out what you need to do with that. Some people make music for big stadiums, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I'll just figure out, narrow in what it is that you do, and what, you know, who are you talking to? Basically,
find your audience.
Yeah, who are you talking to? And that's the best thing. That's once you do that, then it gets, I wouldn't say easier, it gets more in focus. Yeah.
Sure. And for for people that have had a lot of doors closed on them, might be feeling a little discouraged and have had a lot of losses as compared to their wins. From a person that's been through that kind of thing, what would you say to that person?
You're not living if you ain't took any losses. You know what I'm saying? Straight up. You're not learning if you ain't took any losses. You know what I'm saying? Straight up. Every winner has lost. You know what I'm saying? He just figured out how to win. That's it. That's what I would say to that. Don't worry. Don't complain about the losses. You know what I'm saying? The losses kind of put you more in the direction of, like, where you need to be. You know what I'm saying? If you just hit free throws all day and your whole life, and you never knew how you did it, one day it might go away. What you gonna do? Right. But there's other people that sat there and practice, and they know, when I go here, release. You know what I'm saying? That's what life is about. You know what I'm saying? Know when to pull up and know when to release.
Yeah, you gotta have faith in that process too. I feel like
you gotta know. It's not even having faith. That's what I'm saying. Not faith in the process, faith in you. That's why I say, like, where I'm at right now is where I need to be. Like, I have faith in me that, or the things I'm doing, even if things are bad, then it's like, okay, things are bad. Why are they bad? Oh, this is why. Okay, I'm not doing that no more. You know what I'm saying?
Identify it.
Yeah. And then, you know, like I said, you ain't living until you took some losses.
Word. Man. And if you could sum up your motto, your mantra, your life thesis, What would it be?
It would be
how
a
would you
couple
describe
things.
it?
Like one would be like smile every day. You know what I'm saying? No matter what's happening, try to just smile, because it just changes. Like there's a difference a day will make. Like smiling just changes anything. You could get $100 out somebody from smiling. Like, hey, let me get 100. You know? You know?
Nice hustler, bro.
You know,
Sign
smile
up.
every day. And then another one would probably be, you know, make a strong decision on which way you're gonna go. You know what I mean? Make a strong decision and go. Like, make your decision not based on what other people are gonna say, not based on what your family's gonna say. Like, you gotta live you every single day. So make your decision and run. You know what I'm saying? Run with it. If I told you it was $1 million at the end of that corner, for real, with the Google Maps looking down on it,
Drop pin.
you would go get it. You wouldn't think twice, you know?
For sure.
So go get it.